All right, welcome to Bet the Edge. I'm Jay Croucher here with Drew Dinsick in an alternate location. We're going to do 40 minutes today on Yannick Sinner, who looked absolutely amazing last night. We're going to talk a little Australian Open, not just Yannick, and then we're going to little touch on the NBA, but we're mostly going to focus on the NFL. We'll do some wrap-up thoughts on the 4 games, and then also Super Bowl MVP, and then our best bets of the weekend. But let's talk about the Australian Open, Drew. Big happening this morning, American time, with Daniil Medvedev getting done. I really thought Porter was going to blow it after he gave the break back in the third set. He looked like he's going to cough up the first set for a stretch as well. But Medvedev is out, and now the top half of the draw all of a sudden looks a lot weaker. And I don't understand why Tsitsipas is a minus 200 favorite against my man who broke my heart in New York, Yannick Sinner. What do you make of that? What do you make of the happenings of the past 24 hours?
Well, Tsitsipas Sinner is the match of the 4th round, and it's going to be one of the matches of the tournament. We're 24 hours off of the match of the tournament, which was Murray Kokonakis, which was incredible. It's been a very, very good Australian Open from an entertainment standpoint. I think anyone that was somewhat new to tennis who's been watching this action so far is probably like, I'm in. Like, this is great. Like, I love this. And both men's and women's still absolutely competitive. This was a runaway at the start for Djokovic, but injury has now kind of leveled him to the degree where everybody feels like they have a chance. And Medvedev was especially disappointing last night because he came into that as a meaningful favorite. I did not give Korda much of a chance at all. I was eyeballing the plus money price on Medvedev in straight sets. I looked hard at the under too because I thought, this looks like easy work for Medvedev, and he loses in straight sets. So the funny thing is, like, if you had asked me before the tournament started, like, how do you feel like the American men are going to do? I'd be like, I think a couple of guys could surprise and make a little bit of a run here. Yeah, for Taylor Fritz, surely. Yeah, of course. I'll probably, you've been like, give me a couple of names. The guys Taylor Fritz for sure. Francis Tiafoe, give him, keep an eye on him. It would have probably taken me about 6 names to get to Seb Korda. Like, I didn't know he had this level. Like, I didn't know he could play this well against that degree of competition. And honestly, I don't even really think this was a Medvedev collapse as much as it was Korda just finding a gear that shows you that he's probably going to finish this year in sort of the top 20, top 10 range, which is pretty exciting for men's American tennis. And then the idea that Mackenzie McDonald would have the other major upset for the U.S. men beating Nadal, I don't think I would have mentioned him among the guys in the U.S. you should watch. Of course, he's out to Nishioka, but just overall an amazing tournament for the men. And I think we have to zero in on Sinner Tsitsipas because the winner of that 4th round match is your finalist on the top half of the draw. Yeah, I don't think no one else has a chance.
Felix? You're writing off Felix?
No, whoever comes through Tsitsipas Sinner, I make minus 200-ish against Felix.
Okay. Yeah. I took a little Hercax at 60-1 outright after he won, just thinking that the top of the draw is so bare outside of Tsitsipas and Sinner, and Felix would be in front of him as well. To me, there are 4 matches that are going to define this tournament. 1, Tsitsipas Sinner, which you touched on. 2, Djokovic and Rune are on a collision course, and whoever wins that match is almost certainly going to be a finalist.
Yes.
Probably Tsitsipas or Sinner. And then on the women's side, we've got Swiatek Rybakina, which is just absolutely magnificent.
Oh my God.
What an absolute heavyweight between the 2 recent slam winners. Well, they've got the past 3 slams between them. And then also our girl, Aryna Sabalenka, who I think is still a bet at the plus 600, plus 650 she is in the market. She's going to get Belinda Bencic most likely in the 4th round, and I suspect that the winner of that, Caroline Garcia will be heard from, but I suspect the winner of that may reach the final as well. So I think the best bet in the market at the moment, well, I would have said Yannick Sinner, who I backed at 15-1 last night, but if he's going to be plus 170 in the market against Tsitsipas, then you're probably just better off going moneyline by moneyline at that point.
I would agree.
So there's that. And then I think Sabalenka It's still at plus 600. And also taking a little Krejcikova again at 35-1 after how she looked. She looked phenomenal.
Yes.
She's got a brutal draw in Jess Pegula. But if she can get through that, then it opens up a little bit for her, and hopefully one of Rybakina or Goff can knock out Iga Swiatek, who outside of the French, I'm just going to continually fade on every surface. She's just short. Can't have Iga Swiatek being plus 200 on hard court.
No. We agree 100%. I loved your breakdown. I love that you're into tennis, and that was a very solid handicap. Well done, Jay.
Yes.
Your guy's Sinner, like realistically, as Djokovic ages out of being the guy at this tournament, Sinner is the kind of rightful heir, right? Like Alcaraz is the rightful heir to the French Open and US Open favorite status once Nadal is no longer in the picture. Sinner is the rightful heir for the Aussie Open and Wimbledon, in my mind, just considering what his like tool set is, what his skill set is, and just, how like the level he can find when he needs it in these best of 5 matches. Like the guy is amazing. And I agree with you. I'm shocked that Sinner is a dog here to Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas, of course, is playing phenomenal tennis, but like it's the same sort of thing as we saw with Medvedev. Medvedev was superlative until he ran into a guy that had the answers, and Sinner, I think, has the answers to Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas, of course, he's shown us his best tennis when he had like a lot of help coaching, and when he's out there on his own, if he's in his own head, like Sinner can absolutely get the better of him. So I'm with you. I think Sinner comes out at the top half of this draw here. I don't think anyone coming out of the first quarter a realistic chance in the semifinals. And on the women's side, the top half of the draw is much stronger than the bottom half right now. Much. I mean, the fourth quarter looked like it was going to be just as tough as the first quarter, but everybody has fallen out. Like that is now Sabalenka's to lose in my mind. I know your point about Bencic is fair, but I just don't see her going toe to toe with as much power as Sabalenka brings to the table. So I think Sabalenka is in very good shape to go through to the final, and hopefully at that point she's either taken on a battle weary Iga or a potential Krejcikova or someone who is taking the better of her. I like Rybakina tonight against Iga. I think that I think she's live. I really do. I think that's going to be an incredible match. I guess that's not tonight, that's tomorrow night, but that's the fourth round match that has me the most excited for sure on the women's side. The third round matches on the bottom half of the draw are a little bit of a snooze fest. There's one fun one though, which is the very, very bottom of the draw. Linda Fruitova versus Marketa Vondrousova. So Vondrousova, for those who don't know, she was like the original Czech teen breakout. Like back in 2017, people were like, "Whoa, this Czech teen is very, very good." She makes the French Open final, loses to Ash Barty in 2019 as a teenager, and then since then has kind of paved the road for a lot of up and coming young Czech women. And Fruitova is sort of the class of the up and coming group, but Vondrousova I think has the goods to get the better of her. So very fun watching that market push pull. There's some heavy duty players on either side of that one. I'm on the Vondrousova side, and very much looking forward to that one tonight.
Yep. No, that's a fun one. Vondrousova wobbled a little bit against Holmes, but then ultimately was able to get it done. I think the way Sabalenka is playing right now, I think just every match is on her racket with the level that she's at. Maybe Iga, maybe Rybakina, they can get to that level to match it, but she's going to have to, I think, blow it. And she's perfectly capable of doing that. But I think that this is her tournament to lose if she wants it. So that's fun. It's good to have tennis back, Drew, after a little stretch. I got really into it in the back half of last year. I'm not at your level, but I can ask the right questions. And then my process is I message you, I message one other friend. This seems off, right? And then all of a sudden we've loaded up on Arena Sabalenka. Nothing better. Let's quickly, before we talk NFL, let's dive into a massive game in the NBA last night.
Oh my God, it was good.
Standards felt like a playoff game. Boston, Golden State. I think as much as regular season games can be important, mentally to get over the hurdle. I just think back to in the last particularly the last 3 games of the finals, Boston just, even though they were only, 3-point dogs or whatever in these games, they just felt like they were drawing dead against the Warriors. It just felt like the Warriors had solved them. And then last night, Boston, backs against the wall, looked like they were going to lose. They pull it out. They get hot from 3 late in overtime, with Golden State changing a lot of things up, and we'll get into that. But overall, what did you make of the game?
Great game. Very instructive, I thought. Golden State makes some tweaks to their lineup, which we can fairly criticize. Well, why are you doing this? But they did it, which I think tells you that they were taking that game very seriously. And overall, they played well. And I think if they come out of that game with a better defensive performance and a win, then they probably just put that in their pocket and say, we got this when we need it in the playoffs, right? And we don't really see that level much more from them in the regular season. In the light of the loss and their current standings and their current kind of defensive form, I think they need to continue to press the button and work hard and really develop, who they are as a core, what they want their identity to be. Because, right now, like, you said it before the show, they closed as 6.5-point dogs to the Celtics. Like, the idea that they are meaningfully, not as good as the Celtics right now should concern everybody in that core. And so, yeah, I'm kind of inclined to see if they can find a defensive philosophy that works. I think they're going to be a decent bet to the unders in the next kind of stretch of games as they really try to hone their defense. So, I'm excited to continue to back the Warriors in the regular season here, while I think they give effort on a mission to try to, sort of just fix things. And I don't know that I would have felt that way if they had gotten the win. And this is all because of a fluke 3-pointer that they just defended poorly, where Jaylen Brown, ties it at the end of the game. Otherwise, they were the better team, I thought, all night.
Yep. No, I agree. And I think, we spoke about this before the show. To me, like, it's one regular season game. The result doesn't really matter that much. What matters to me is that the Celtics in the global market closed 6.5-point favorite against the full strength Golden State Warriors. Like, those finals games were closing, 3 in Boston, 3.5, that type of range. And so now to get that, and then Boston to come through that, I think Boston are clearly the team to beat, I think. And they might be, at this point, probably tier 1 by themselves.
I think that's true.
Until proven otherwise. All right, we've got a quick question on Sixth Man of the Year from Holt. You'll see Kerr. In the y'all, it's an Australian. See Kerr said Poole is getting moved into the starting lineup last night. How is Westbrook still the favorite? I think the anti-Westbrook sentiment for Sixth Man of the Year, look, he's like minus 250 in the market right now. That's completely ridiculous. But I think there is a thought that he's drawing dead. He's not drawing dead. If the Lakers make the playoffs and Russ is putting up his counting stats while also playing probably the best defense he has in years, he's still important for that team. Russ is he's a good player this year in terms of what he creates for others. Obviously his shooting is a car crash, but outside of that, which is important. But I do think that Russ will probably win this award if the Lakers make the playoffs. Now, the Lakers are like plus 200 to make the playoffs, which I think is, that's like the shortest that Russ can be for Sixth Man. I probably think he's more like plus 300, plus 350. Yep. So given that there's a guy who should be plus 300, plus 350, who is minus 250 in the market, that creates value on others. And so there are a few guys floating around. But Drew, who do you think is who do you think is the best bet for Sixth Man at the moment?
I am underwater in that market. I agree with everything you just said. I don't think I have a name that I really am feeling confident in. I'm holding a decent ticket on Brogdon. I hope that he can somehow get back to the shooting we saw from him in the first couple of months, but that's really slipped lately, and it was due to regress, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't see it. See that coming a little bit. I'm sure that there's a live long shot. I know you've got your heart and eyes, for Oladipo. I think that's fun, but I don't know how likely it is. What is your current temperature on this one?
Yeah, I think Brogdon only wins if everyone else falls down. Like, he's averaging he's going to finish averaging like 13 points and 3.5 assists. Everyone's healthy now. Derek White went to the bench as well, so now he's competing for bench minutes with Derek White, who they were playing more minutes than him anyway. Brogdon's averaging like 23.5 minutes a game, that type of range. Like, that's just not enough unless everyone falls over and the Celtics are the clear best team in the league, which they probably will be, but he still needs other guys to fall over. So I think that the winner is going to come from a group of, look, Brogdon's certainly live. I wouldn't be that interested at his current price. I think Norm Powell, some 15-1 out there on Norm Powell. If the Clippers surge, he is the same efficiency as Brogdon as a scorer, but it's going to have more volume. He's trending up as well. He's playing better and better. He's one to keep an eye on. And then the three longer shots who I'd pay attention to. One, Victor Oladipo, who over the past 10 games has basically been 15, 5, and 4, efficient on a surging team, playing all defense level on that end. So I think he is live. He's still 60-1 out there. That's too big. Bogdanovic, if the Hawks can make a run, I think that he will be in the mix. He's 40-1 range. And then Tyrese Maxey, who's starting to come off the bench now as a sixth man. He has got an uphill battle to qualify for the award, but if he qualifies, then he is very live and he'll have some narrative driving him. So I think that that's probably the play at the moment.
Okay.
But what do you think?
If Tyrese Maxey wins an award, it's going to be something. That's a fantastic breakdown. I need to continue to think about it. I feel like that award might get decided in the last month, which is stupid, but I think it still is wide open, and you're betting against Russ. I mean, the bet is just, if you could get plus 200 on field over Westbrook, like that's you just put that in your pocket and sit on it.
Minus 350.
Exactly. Yeah. One kind of other awards question for you, because it came up in my mind as I was watching that game last night. Let's assume that the Warriors try defensively for the next month, and that they improve their defensive rating so that instead of bottom 10, they're top 10.
Yeah.
Are we starting the narrative of Draymond Green is really in contention for Defensive Player of the Year? What has to happen for him to flip JJJ in that market?
Looking now at their defensive rating, Golden State Warriors are 15th in defense, 113.2 D rating per NBA.com. The Grizzlies are 109.1. I think JJJ should be minus 250 in this market. I just think that it's his award to lose. He has to it's basically just bet on health and then no freak outliers coming. I do think the next two guys most likely to win, and probably the only guys I could possibly see overthrowing JJJ without an injury, are Draymond and Bam. I think there is a decent chance that Draymond is going to be the most deserving candidate, because, you look at defensive EPM, he is, he's behind JJJ, but he's within striking distance. Bam's defensive numbers are not great, but the team defense is good and getting better. They're 6th in defense right now, Miami. So, I think Bam 20-1, Draymond 35-1. I think those are both good bets, just because JJJ, he can't be minus 1,000 in the market. There's too much season left. So I think those are the two guys who can get Jaron. I'm not interested in Nick Claxton at all. He's not winning Player of the Year.
No.
Lopez, I think, is drawing dead at this point.
I agree.
Giannis, I think, is probably more likely to win than Brook Lopez, just because he has more of a ceiling, but I don't think that he's going to win either. So I think Draymond and Bam, those are the bets, but I think JJJ is also the bet. Three guys to go to war with.
I'm going to take some long shot prices on Draymond. Just because, again, you can I feel like the narrative is going to come, especially if they are trying now, right? If they, what's funny is if they win that game last night, I'm probably not making this case at all, because I'm literally well, they're just not going to try defensively until they have to. And now I feel like they actually have to try.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and people, if Draymond is close, then he will get the bump from last year. He should have won the award had he stayed healthy. So that will certainly be a tiebreak of sorts. But yeah, they've definitely got some work to do. That team defense needs to get into the top 7 at least for him to have any chance. All right, let's quickly talk these NFC games: Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys, Niners. Both favorites are firming. Eagles up to -8, total 48. 49ers go from 3.5 to 4-point favorites. Total is 46.5. Any of these movements stand out to you, Drew? Any interest in the Giants or Cowboys as our fading underdogs?
I'm losing interest in the underdogs in the NFC, surely, particularly in that Giants-Eagles game, and we'll get to that at some point here. I'm actually surprised. You felt that there was a little bit of a nudge and a little bit of a market momentum for the Eagles yesterday that was pushing that out, largely on the basis of positive injury news that they've been continuing to compile throughout the week, and I think that could close 8. I think it could go 8.5 realistically. Like the Eagles look like the right side in that one to me now. Cowboys, I'm less confident in just because I'm starting to become more concerned about Dak being under pressure in this game. His splits when he's under pressure versus when he has a clean pocket to work with or he's, in design rollouts, like he's Jekyll and Hyde. And if the Cowboys offensive line doesn't show up and Nick Bosa's in his lap all day, then, the Cowboys could absolutely, take themselves out of contention here. So I'm cool right now on both of the dogs. And the NFC. The market move that is surprising me the most is, and I think where I'm going to say it here, who in the world is piling in on the over for Bills Bengals? The weather looks atrocious. Both teams have huge question marks about the way that their offenses are going to be successful in the matchups. I don't think favor either of these offenses. And I know that there's a pretty solid anchor point because it's not that many weeks ago that a market closed between these two teams, and not that has changed in terms of player availability outside of the offensive line for the Bengals. But it's going to be freezing rain all day on Sunday in Buffalo. You could even have wind potentially in this one. So I'm not sure I see a clean offensive game where this is threatening 50 points. And yet it is getting bet up as we come into the close here.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. We talked early in the week about how 50.5 was the opener. That seemed way too high, and then it got bashed into 48 and based mainly off the weather. But then also, I think the market just correcting itself off of a bit of a suspect opener, mainly around Cincy's O-line injuries. The total went down as the Bills got progressively more favored. So, yeah, I don't really understand it either. I think 5.5 as well is starting to get a little bit rich on the Bills. The Bengals would be my play there. I'm feeling better and better about the Chiefs covering 8.5.
Oh, no.
Sorry. And I know it's not to our interest. Well, I got a lot of Chiefs Super Bowl tickets, but the Jags winning the AFC would be everything. I just think it's going to happen. What is the track record of Mahomes against the pass defense this bad in Arrowhead? I think that's the thing with the Jags, is that it's been disguised a little bit the past 2 weeks. Their secondary going up against Josh Dobbs and then Joe Lombardi and not Mike Williams. I think that has probably papered over some of the cracks. I think back to how just Detroit did whatever they wanted against the Jags secondary. The Cowboys as well, even with Dak throwing picks, they still did whatever they wanted against the Jags defense. So, yeah, I'm starting to lean blowout here. What do you think?
I am holding out the slimmest of hopes here. And again, I don't think taking the points makes sense with the Jaguars. They either keep this game close and have a shot to win, at which point give me plus 350 all day long, or they get blown out. Those are kind of the more likely outcomes to me than a game where the Jaguars are plucky and they're hanging in there and they, come through the back door and make it a 7-point game, right? The at current price, I'm not really interested in taking points. I think your points about the Jaguars' pass defense are extremely valid. They're not good. They have one good cover. They have one good corner, but you look at what the Chiefs are, the way the Chiefs are constructed right now, and the way they're operating, and the players they have at the wide receiver position. I'm not really that scared of Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster out there running amok. They're not going to hit home runs on us, I don't think. It's more about, what does Travis Kelce do? Can you get off the field on third down? Or is this just, the defense is out there just bleeding out all game? So it's, and also, by the way, all the way down the stretch, the Chiefs tried to get their running game going. They played a bunch of teams that are bad against the run and really leaned into it. They tried to make Isaiah Pacheco happen so badly, and they just couldn't make it happen. And, Jerick McKinnon is their best option in the backfield, and he's their best option in the passing game out of the backfield, not even handing him the ball. If they've done a decent amount of self-evaluation in the bye week and they're coming in with a razor-sharp offensive approach where it's a lot of Kelce, a lot of McKinnon, in the passing game, and then, just kind of bleeding the Jags with the, short stuff to Schuster and short stuff to Mercole Hardman, I guess, and Kadarius Toney. Let them get yak in this game. Then it could get ugly, but I'm not like especially scared of this unit, and maybe that's where I'm missing the handicap in some way.
Yeah, I think Mahomes is just at the level where it's just he's just receiver proof. Just doesn't matter. As long as he's got Kelsey in an offensive line, doesn't really matter. You put Deshaun Jackson, Sammy Watkins out there, I think it'd be the same results at this point. I just think he's that much better than everyone else. I like that you're now using personal pronouns around the Jags, but don't think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is going to get deep on us. Unbelievable. All in Jags. All right, you're on your own. I'm a Mahomes fan now. All right, just a reminder, if you don't have the NBC Sports Predictor app, go download it now. The contests are free and easy to play, and you have a shot to win thousands this weekend by predicting what will happen in college basketball, the Premier League, and the Divisional Round, including a shot at $100,000 by guessing the outcome between the Jags and Chiefs. Chiefs will win. That's the outcome. All right, we're going to help you with one of those questions. The first question you will see in the contest, Drew, how many passing yards for Patrick Mahomes?
Okay, if the Jaguars win, I'm going to be insufferable on Monday. So just a little heads up there. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a rough show. But I think Patrick Mahomes is not going to turtle in this game. This is going to be an impressive performance from him. Honestly, any confidence in the Jags is that they're going to win like 30-30, right? Like not that this is going to be the type of game that you saw in the AFC Championship last year where Mahomes and company came out in the second half and just laid an egg. So I'm going to go Mahomes in the highest band, 360 plus. He's capable of putting up 400 on a defense like this. And as we've talked about, he's the guy right now.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm taking 360 plus as well. That pass defense has no answer, and the run defense is good. So I think the Chiefs may abandon the run. Mahomes 360 plus. All right, favorite bets of the weekend, Drew. Outside of Jags alternate spread minus 19.5. What else do you got?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. Honestly, I look for an Eagles alternate spread minus 19.5 if we're being serious. The Eagles, to me, are set up well to cover this number because their ability to put this game away in the second half with the lead looks like the least likely outcome is a comeback here for the Giants. I give the Giants low probability of coming through the back door here in the game where I think they realistically, like, if the Eagles take a 3 to 7 point lead into halftime of this game, like the Giants should have a time of possession in the second half in the ballpark of under 10 minutes. Like really and truly, the Eagles should be able to do whatever they want on the ground against this weak linebacking core, the weak run defense that the Giants bring to the table. The Week 14 matchup that we saw between these guys was so one-sided in terms of Philadelphia being able to get anything they needed to get on the ground that I think they can take a lot of positives away from that and bring them into, bring some new wrinkles even into this game and make the Giants, defense, just spend 30-35 minutes on the field, on Sunday. And this is an opportunity, I think, for, people to kind of catch a little bit of a buy low on the Eagles. They didn't play great down the stretch, largely because of the injury to Hurts and some of the other key players, but all of those guys are back. People, little birds chirping are saying that Hurts has quietly looked good in some of the closed sessions. So I believe he's, relatively right here. And I think he gets the monkey off his back, gets his first playoff win and does it in style. So Eagles minus the points, favorite play of the week for me.
Yep, that's my favorite spread as well on the board. I think this is going to be a blowout. I think you nailed it that the Giants' run defense, that's their defense overall has gotten better, but it's been through the past defense. Adoree Jackson back is big there, but they're starting to get banged up as well. Moreau, second corner, Ojolari as well, who's important on that defensive line. They're both will probably play, but they're going to be a little limited, I think. And I think the Eagles are just going to do whatever they want on the ground. All right, I'm going to the prop world. My favorite prop of the week, bouncing back after DK Metcalf. I took the under and he doubled his line. And no more unders, no more of the under business and out of that business. Packed up shop. Go on the overs. Jamar Chase over 82.5 receiving yards against the Bills. It's already up to 85.5 on points bet. Jamar Chase past 5 games, averaging almost 13 targets per game. And what I like about this is that he produced against the Ravens, and he did it without needing a single 20-yard plus catch. He's shown that he's diversified his game where he can work more in the short, intermediate stuff. Basically a possession receiver. against the Ravens. So he has that element to his game. I think that the Bengals will be trailing in this game, and they'll need to be throwing. And I think that with the Bills, they're banged up secondary. I mean, they're down Micah Hyde, they're down Damar Hamlin. Jordan Poyer is playing hurt. He's not himself. I think that there is the huge potential for a big play. And even if not, I think the Chase can get there just on the volume of targets. Actually, This line is bouncing around now. It's now over 80.5. The over is juice. So certainly like that on points bet. So Jamar Chase going over. All right, before we close out, let's talk Super Bowl MVP quickly. Market is updated a little bit. Brock Purdy's plus 750, which I don't really understand. Wouldn't be touching that. Mahomes still the favorite, plus 350. Then Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Anyone since we last spoke about this market who leaps out to you?
Hurts is inching in. He was 7-1 last time we talked. He's 6-1 now. I like that. I think that's the correct directionality for him. The makeup award for him not getting consideration for MVP is getting the Super Bowl MVP if the Eagles win. And I think that makes him kind of the lion's share expected winner if the Eagles do win. And then on top of that, the idea of the Eagles being dogs to the likes of the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Bengals. I think when an underdog wins the Super Bowl, the quarterback for the team is usually kind of given the credit for that. So for all those reasons, I think Hurts is the clear look on the board even at 6-1. I think that's still value.
I thought you were going to say Christian Kirk 250 to 1. I thought you were going to go on that direction. Maybe from Travis Etienne 250 to 1. The Jags at all. I'm with you on Hurts. I think most of the time the way to look through this market is usually quarterbacks don't get enough equity, even though it looks like a lot of equity, like 70-75%. I think is usually too low, particularly for high octane offenses. Like I think Patrick Mahomes in this market just should be 90-95% of Kansas City's Super Bowl win equity every single season that he's in the mix, which is probably going to be every single season that he's in the league for the foreseeable. In terms of the long shots, the only one who's north of 100 to 1 who interests me is George Kittle, just because that is the one team where the quarterback equity should not be above 70% because Brock Purdy is not in the same class as Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, etc. So I think that Kittle, just with his touchdown potential, the fact that he's had 3 games with Purdy where he's had multiple touchdowns, I think that makes him live. He also has the pedigree, and so you're looking at you probably need 2 touchdowns and 80 plus yards and Purdy to throw a pick in a Niners win, and that might be enough to get you there. He's probably the long shot that appeals the most. What do you think of Kittle?
I dig that. You make a joke about Christian Kirk 251. What's the best price you have in your pocket for the Jags Super Bowl?
I have some 60 to 1 AFC, 60, 70 to 1 AFC. I didn't go all in Super Bowl, just AFC. It's funny, I've got 60 to 1 AFC. I don't feel good about it at all.
It's 10 to 1 in the market, man. What do you mean?
No, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. It's 500 to 1 in my heart. But look, I got a lot of Chiefs Super Bowl, so at least there's a hedge there that is naturally being.
You're gonna have one of the 2 participants in the AFC Championship game, so that's huge.
Yes. And if the Jags beat the Chiefs, I'm going to feel terrible about the Jags against the Bills, and we'll do this all over again.
Oh, no. Talk about nobody believes in a spot, Jay. That's a good one. Nobody believes in us, Jay.
Yeah, nobody believes in us. Yeah, no, it's a great spot for the Jags for your Jags to shock the world. All right. Don't forget to check out NBCSportsEdge.com for more information to help you with your wagers. Thanks for those watching on the NBC Sports YouTube channel. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, don't forget to subscribe and rate us. Go Chiefs, go Jags, go Yannick Sinner, go Arena Sabalenka, and have a good weekend. Good luck on all your bets. From Jay Croucher and Drew Dinsick. We'll see you on Monday.